Well, after several days of deliberation, the jury has delivered guilty verdicts on certainly all of the major charges that those four defendants faced. There were two main defendants, if you like, a Romanian mechanic, Gheorghe Nica, who was described broadly by the prosecution as the transport manager for the smuggling group. It was his job to supply cars once those illegal immigrants had been picked up at the ferry and let out of the lorry a few miles from Purfleet. They were then driven to a safe house in southeast London. He supplied the cars. He had admitted people smuggling on two previous occasions, but he'd insisted to the jury that he wasn't involved on the night and had no idea, was not part of the plan to smuggle 39 immigrants on that day, 23rd of October last year. But the jury has decided that he is guilty, not just of people smuggling, but also of the manslaughter of all 39 of those men, women and children. The second of the major defendants was Eamonn Harrison, a young lorry driver from Northern Ireland. It was his job to pick up the illegal immigrants in northern France, drive them to Zeebrugge, the Belgian port, where he left them in the trailer. The trailer then put on the ferry to Essex, and it was a second driver who picked them up. He had denied all the charges. He denied people smuggling, he denied being involved in the manslaughter, but the jury has decided that Eamonn Harrison was guilty of all the charges. He told the jury during the trial that he knew he was smuggling, but he thought he was smuggling stolen lorry parts, and he claimed that he'd never seen any of the immigrants get into his lorry. He told a story of parking up on instructions, hiding in his cab, watching Netflix, he said, while whatever he thought was being put into the back of his trailer was going on. He claimed they were stolen lorry parts. He had no idea. He said that they were humans, but the jury clearly haven't believed his story. The jury was also told that 18 months before this tragedy, he'd been stopped, in fact, at Calais, and 18 Vietnamese illegal immigrants were found in the back of his lorry. So he had been involved in people smuggling before. So the other two defendants, Christopher Kennedy, another driver from Northern Ireland, he wasn't there on the night. He's been convicted of people smuggling. He told the jury that he thought he was smuggling cigarettes. And the fourth man just convicted by the jury is a driver, a Romanian, another Romanian called Valentin Carlotta. He was a friend of the other principal defendant, another Romanian, Gheorghe Nica. He said that he had agreed to drive what he thought were illegal cigarettes, but he too has been found guilty of the charges by the jury. There were four other people charged who pleaded guilty before this trial. One of them is the Irish haulier, Ronan Hughes. He admitted manslaughter and people smuggling, and he'll be sentenced in the new year. Maurice Robinson was the Northern Irish driver who picked up the trailer with the immigrants at Purfleet, who was told to stop and open the door within a few miles. And it was Maurice Robinson who opened the door and found the bodies of the 39 dead Vietnamese illegal immigrants. And there were two, I suppose you could call them peripheral figures, Gazmir Nuzi and Alexander Hanger, also part of the gang. They too have admitted people smuggling. All of them, all 8, those who have been found guilty and those who pleaded guilty, are expected to be sentenced sometime in the new year, sometime in early January. And of course, those who've been convicted of manslaughter face a maximum sentence of life imprisonment.